All right, everybody, welcome back to the deep dive. Uh, Today, we're going to get into a phone that I'm sure you've seen all over the internet, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra.
Oh yeah, this phone is everywhere and for good reason, I think.
For good reason, right? We got reviews, specs, even some like insider info about this phone, and we're going to try to like distill all this down into something useful for you.
There's a lot to cover.
So much to cover, and I've been kind of reading up on this and just looking at everything, and it just seems like so much, like maybe too much even.
It can be overwhelming, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah,
To kind of like break it down and figure out, what is the deal with this phone?
exactly, and see if it actually lives up to all the hype.
Yeah, so let's jump in. One of the things that I saw that really caught my attention was that they're really pushing the AI on this thing.
Oh yeah, the AI is a big focus this
Yeah,
year.
like they're calling it like a personal AI concierge almost, with this like Gemini Bixby hybrid AI.
Hybrid, that's the first time I've seen that, so
Like,
we'll see how that goes.
yeah, I'm curious, like, how does that actually play out in real life? Like, can I really just like tell my phone to do something and it'll just do it?
Well, in theory, yes. You should be able to do things like, draft messages or curate playlists, all using just your voice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine myself like, walking the dog and being like, hey, phone, make me a playlist for walking the dog.
Exactly, and it'll just happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So is this all happening like in the cloud, or is there some serious processing power on the phone itself?
That's actually a great question. And one of the things that impressed me is the emphasis on on-device processing with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip.
Snapdragon 8 Elite. Okay, so that's a pretty powerful chip, right?
It is, yeah, one of the most powerful mobile chips out there right now. And that means a lot of the AI processing can happen right there on the phone.
Oh, so I don't have to wait for like information to go up to the cloud and come back down.
Exactly. It's all happening locally, which means it's super fast and efficient.
Okay, so that's good for like, battery life and privacy and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely. And it just makes the whole experience much smoother.
So besides like, making playlists, what else can you do with this AI? Like, what are some of the practical applications?
Well, they've got some really interesting features like Now Brief, which gives you a personalized rundown of your day.
Now Brief, what is that? Like a little news feed or something?
It's more than that. It pulls in information from all your apps and gives you a summary of like your schedule, your health stats all in one place.
Oh, wow. That's pretty handy.
Yeah. And then there's Call Assist, which is like a real-time transcription service for your calls.
Hold on. So like as I'm talking on the phone, is writing down everything that's being said.
Exactly, which can be super useful for remembering important details or if you need to refer back to something later.
I mean, that could be really helpful, but also kind of creepy. Like, is my phone always listening to me?
Well, that's the trade-off with a lot of these AI features, right? You're getting this incredible convenience, but it does come with some privacy considerations.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, let's move on to something a little less Orwellian.
Sure.
Let's talk about the camera, because I've seen some pretty wild things about the camera on this phone.
Yeah, the camera is definitely a highlight.
Like a 50 megapixel ultra wide lens and a 200 megapixel main sensor.
Yeah.
I mean, those are DSLR level numbers.
Yeah, they're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in a smartphone camera.
But the question is, does it actually translate into better photos?
Well, the hardware is certainly impressive, but it's also about how the software leverages that hardware.
Right, because you can have all the megapixels in the world, but if the software isn't good, then the pictures aren't going to be good.
Exactly. And that's where Samsung's AI-powered features come in things like Scene Optimizer, which automatically adjusts the settings based on what you're shooting.
Oh, so like if I'm taking a picture of a landscape, it'll know to like, adjust the colors and the exposure and all that stuff.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of photography.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
especially for people like me who are not, professional photographers.
Exactly. It makes it easier for anyone to take great photos.
And I also saw something about this single take feature, which sounds kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one. It basically captures a bunch of different photos and videos with just one tap.
So like different angles, different effects all at once.
Yeah, it's like having a personal photographer following you around.
That's awesome. So for people who do know a little bit more about photography, are there like pro features too?
Absolutely. They've included things like Expert RAW and Galaxy Log, which give you more control over things like dynamic range and color grading.
Okay, so break those down for me. What exactly do those do?
Well, Expert RAW lets you capture images in a RAW format which is basically a digital negative that gives you more flexibility for editing later.
Oh, so like more information in the image file so you can really tweak it in post-production.
Exactly. And then Galaxy Log is similar. It captures a wider range of colors and tones, which gives you more latitude for color grading and creating those cinematic looks.
So it sounds like they're really trying to appeal to both like casual users and more serious photographers.
Absolutely. They're giving you the tools to take amazing photos no matter your skill level.
Okay, so we've talked about the AI, we've talked about the camera. Let's move on to something a little more down to earth, the phone's actual build quality.
Durability is always important.
Yeah, because, you know, I've dropped my fair share of phones over the years.
And the S25 Ultra is built to withstand some serious abuse. It's got a titanium frame and Corning Gorilla Armor 2, which is supposedly the toughest glass they've ever put on a phone.
I saw a drop test online, and this thing survived some pretty crazy falls.
Yeah, it's definitely designed to be tough.
But is it like super bulky and heavy because of all that?
Surprisingly, no. They've actually managed to make it lighter than the S24 Ultra.
How did they do that?
Well, the titanium frame helps because it's stronger but also lighter than traditional materials.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's tough, but not clunky.
Exactly. They've also paid attention to the ergonomics, so it should feel comfortable to hold even for extended periods.
That's good because, we're all spending way too much time on our phones these days.
It's true. So having a phone that's comfortable to hold is essential.
All right, let's talk about the display because, that's what you're looking at all the time, right?
Absolutely. The display is crucial.
And with this phone, they're calling it ProScaler display technology with AI enhancements.
Yeah, they're really pushing the boundaries of display tech with this one.
So what does that actually mean? Like, how does the AI improve the display?
Well, it analyzes the content you're viewing and dynamically adjusts the display settings to optimize the image quality.
So, like, it can sharpen details, boost colors, even upscale the resolution.
Exactly. It's like having a personal TV tuner built right into your phone.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And what about the brightness? I heard this thing can get super bright.
Yeah, they're calling it sunlight visibility boost, and it can go up to 3,000 nits.
3,000 nits? What does that even mean?
It means you can see your screen clearly even in direct sunlight.
No more squinting at your phone at the beach.
Exactly. It's a game changer for outdoor visibility.
Okay, so the brightness is good. What about the refresh rate?
The refresh rate is adaptive and can go up to 1120 hertz.
1120 hertz. Is that even possible?
It is, and it makes scrolling and animations incredibly smooth.
So everything just feels super responsive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like butter.
All right, so all of this has to be powered by something, right? What's the brain behind this operation?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, it's the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip.
Okay, and that's a pretty powerful chip, right?
It's the most powerful mobile processor currently available.
So it can handle like all this AI processing and the high refresh rate display and all the other stuff without breaking a sweat.
Absolutely. It's a beast of a chip.
Okay, so it's got the brains and the beauty. But let's talk about the price tag because this thing ain't cheap.
No, it's not. It's $1,299.
$1,299? That's a lot of dough.
It's definitely a premium price.
So what are you actually getting for that price?
Yeah.
Like besides all the stuff we've already talked about.
Well, one thing that really stands out is the software support. Samsung is offering a remarkable 7 years of OS and security updates.
7 years. That's unheard of for a phone.
It is. Most phones get maybe 2 or 3 years, tops.
So you're saying I could potentially keep this phone for like a decade and it'll still be getting updates?
Well, maybe not a decade, but definitely much longer than a typical smartphone.
That's a pretty big deal because, I hate having to upgrade my phone every couple of years.
It's definitely a selling point for people who want a phone that will last.
And it also ties into Samsung's push for sustainability, right?
Absolutely. They're using recycled materials in the phone's construction and encouraging people to keep their devices for longer.
Okay, so we've got a phone that's powerful, beautiful, and built to last. But what about the S Pen? That's been a signature feature of the Ultra line for a while now.
The S Pen is still there, but there's been a controversial change. They've removed the Bluetooth gesture support.
Wait, really? So you can't use it as a remote control anymore?
No, those features are gone.
I know some people really loved those gestures, like using the S Pen to take selfies or control presentations.
Yeah, it was a cool feature, but Samsung decided to ditch it.
So what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, some speculate that it was a cost-cutting measure. Others think that they're shifting the focus more towards the on-device AI features.
Interesting. So is this a deal breaker or just a minor inconvenience?
I guess it depends on how much you use those gestures.
Yeah, true. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the AI, the camera, the build quality, the display, the S Pen. And we've even touched on the price and the sustainability aspect.
There's a lot to unpack with this phone.
So much. But we're just getting started. We'll be back in part 2 to delve even deeper into the nitty-gritty of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra.
So, we were talking about the S Pen and those Bluetooth gestures right before the break.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that. Like, I get why they did it. Maybe it wasn't as popular as they thought, but, it was a cool feature.
I think for those who are really into using the S Pen for drawing and note-taking, they'll probably appreciate some of the other improvements.
Like what?
Well, they've reduced the latency even further, so it feels even more like writing on real paper.
Oh, wow. So it's like super responsive.
Yeah, very smooth, very natural.
That's cool.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of responsiveness, let's talk about gaming for a sec because, this phone has that crazy powerful chip.
Oh yeah, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, that thing can handle pretty much anything you throw at it.
So, is this a good phone for gaming?
Definitely, it's got all the horsepower you need, plus they've added some gaming-specific features.
Like what kind of features?
Well, they've got this game booster technology that optimizes the phone's performance for gaming.
Oh, it makes sure the frame rates are smooth and there's no lag?
Exactly. It can even adjust the touch sensitivity and the screen refresh rate to give you a competitive edge.
Oh, wow. So it's like a serious gaming phone.
Yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles.
But what about the battery life? If you're playing a really demanding game?
That's a good point, but Samsung has thought of that they've packed in a massive 5,500 mAh battery.
Okay, it's pretty big.
It should easily last you a full day of heavy use, including gaming.
And if you do need to recharge it, what's the charging situation like?
They've included 65W fast charging, so you can go from 0 to 100% in under an hour.
Oh, that's super fast.
Yeah.
Speaking of fast, let's talk about 5G because I know that's a big deal with this phone.
Oh yeah, the S25 Ultra is fully equipped for the 5G future.
So what kind of 5G does it support?
It supports both sub-6 and millimeter wave 5G, which means you'll get the fastest possible speeds depending on your carrier and your location.
Okay, so I'm covered no matter what.
Exactly. And they've also got this smart 5G feature that intelligently switches between different 5G networks to optimize your connection and save battery life.
Oh, that's smart. So it's always trying to find the best signal.
Exactly. It's working behind the scenes to make sure you have the best possible experience.
That's pretty cool. But you know what's also important to me, besides speed?
What's that?
Secure.
Oh yeah, security is paramount these days.
Especially with all the personal information we store on our phones.
And Samsung has really stepped up their game with the S25 Ultra.
Like how so?
Well, they've included their Knox Vault security platform, which isolates sensitive data like passwords and biometric information in a separate, secure environment.
So it's like a vault within a vault.
Exactly. It adds an extra layer of protection.
And they've also got that ultrasonic fingerprint sensor built into the display, right?
Yeah, that's still there, and it's supposed to be even more secure and accurate than traditional fingerprint sensors.
Okay, but sometimes all this security stuff can feel like a hassle,
I know what you mean, like you're constantly being asked for passwords and confirmations.
Exactly. So does the S25 Ultra strike a good balance between security and convenience?
I think they've done a pretty good job. They've included features like Secure Folder, which lets you create a separate encrypted space on your phone for storing sensitive files and apps.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like having a secret compartment on your phone.
Exactly. But they've also made it easy to access your most frequently used apps and features without compromising security.
So you can still unlock your phone quickly and easily.
Yeah, you can customize the lock screen shortcuts, use facial recognition, and even set up different security profiles for different situations.
Okay, so it's secure but not annoying to use.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Exactly. All right, let's shift gears for a minute and talk about something a little more fun, the entertainment features.
Oh yeah, this phone is a multimedia powerhouse.
I mean, it's got that amazing display, and I'm assuming it's got good speakers too.
Oh yeah, they've partnered with Dolby Atmos to deliver immersive spatial audio.
So it's like surround sound in your pocket.
Exactly. It's a great phone for watching movies, listening to music, playing games.
Okay, so it's got the entertainment side covered, but what about productivity? Can you actually get work done on this thing?
Absolutely. They've enhanced their DeX platform, which lets you connect your phone to an external monitor, keyboard, and mouse.
So you can basically turn your phone into a desktop computer.
Exactly. It's a great option for people who want to work on the go.
And they've also improved the multitasking capabilities, right?
Yeah, you can run multiple apps side by side and switch between them seamlessly.
Okay, so you're telling me I can ditch my laptop and just use my phone for work.
Well, it's possible, but there are some limitations, of course.
Like what?
Well, the screen size is still a factor. Even if you're connected to an external monitor, working on a small screen can be challenging.
Yeah, that's true. And battery life is also a consideration if you're using your phone for work all day long.
Exactly. But if you're looking for a phone that can handle both work and play, the S25 Ultra is definitely a strong contender.
It seems like it. All right, so we've talked about gaming, 5G, security, entertainment, productivity.
Hmm.
I think we've covered pretty much everything except for the most important question.
The price.
Yeah, is this phone actually worth $12,599? We'll tackle that head on in the final part of our deep dive, so stick around. Okay, so we're back, and it's time to answer the big question. Is the S25 Ultra actually worth all that money?
Yeah, it's a big investment, no doubt about it.
$1,299. You know, that's not nothing.
Definitely not. So who is this phone really for?
Yeah, like who should be running out to buy this thing?
Well, I think if you're someone who always wants the latest and greatest tech, the cutting edge stuff.
The early adopter type.
Exactly. And you're willing to pay a premium for that, then the S25 Ultra is probably a good fit.
It's definitely got all the bells and whistles.
And it's built to last, too, with those 7 years of updates.
Yeah, that's a huge selling point for me personally. I hate having to buy a new phone every couple of years.
It makes the phone feel more like an investment.
Right, like you're actually getting your money's worth.
Exactly.
But let's be real, not everyone has $1,300 to drop on a phone.
That's true, and there are plenty of other great phones out there at lower price points.
So for people who are on a tighter budget, what are their options?
Well, you don't have to get the absolute top-of-the-line model. You can still get a great Samsung phone for less money.
Or even look at other brands too, right?
Absolutely. There are a lot of great Android phones out there these days.
Yeah, so it's all about finding the right phone for your needs and your budget.
Exactly. Don't feel like you have to spend a fortune to get a good phone.
But let's say you've got your heart set on the S25 Ultra, but you're still a little hesitant about the price.
I get it. It's a lot of money.
Are there any ways to make it a little more palatable?
Well, there are always trade-in deals. You can usually get a pretty good discount if you trade in your old phone.
And carriers often have promotions too, right?
Yeah, you can usually get a discount or maybe even a free accessory if you signed up for a new contract.
And Samsung themselves usually has some pre-order bonuses too.
Oh, yeah, definitely like free storage upgrades or bundles with Galaxy watches or buds.
So it's worth shopping around and seeing what kind of deals you can find.
Absolutely. And if you're willing to wait a few months, you can usually find even better prices.
Patience is a virtue, they say.
It is, especially when it comes to tech.
And another option is to consider buying a refurbished model.
Oh, yeah, that's a great way to save money.
You can often get a new phone for a fraction of the price.
Yeah. Just make sure you buy from a reputable source.
Yeah, do your research and make sure there's a good warranty.
Exactly.
So there are definitely ways to make the S25 Ultra a little more affordable if you're willing to put in a little effort.
You don't have to pay full price.
But ultimately, the decision of whether or not to buy this phone is a personal one.
It is. You have to weigh the pros and cons and decide if it's right for you.
No one can tell you what the right answer is.
Exactly.
So what have we learned today? Well, we've learned that the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is a pretty amazing phone.
It's packed with features, it's powerful, it's beautiful, it's built to last.
But it's also expensive.
There's no denying that.
So you have to decide if it's worth the price for you.
Exactly.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you the information you need to make an informed decision.
That's our goal.
We've covered the AI, the cameras, the display, the S Pen, the price, the sustainability aspect.
You've left no stone unturned.
So now it's up to you to do your own research and figure out if the S25 Ultra is the right phone for you.
We've given you the tools. Now go forth and conquer.
And if you do decide to get one, let us know what you think.
We'd love to hear your feedback.
All right, that's it for this week's deep dive. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Until next time.